Hello, and welcome to the communications presentation for the Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation. My name is Chelsea Johnson, and I am the Communications Manager for Ofntsc. Today I'm going to be going over the highlights and key accomplishments we've achieved over the past year. First up is our Student Achievement Awards. This year we received a record number of applications. We have received over 26 applications for our Student Achievement Awards. This year's winners are Erin Zacole, who received the Robert Olivier Memorial Award, Bordana Innes, recipient of the J. Benedict Memorial Award, Sterling George, recipient of the Derek Kamanga Memorial, Megan LaRoche, and Chantel DeRoche, who both received the Student Achievement Awards. Congratulations to all of our students, and a big thank you and shout out to our supporters and sponsors for our Student Golf Classic fundraiser that we held in September. Our monthly newsletter has continued to be sent out consistently every month around the first or second day of the month. Usually contains updates on Ofntsc's activities, any upcoming events, training opportunities, funding opportunities for First Nations, lots of important information such as new hires at Ofntsc, so our client base will know who the new contacts are for different services, and our subscriber list has grown and it's currently at 601 subscribers. Our annual report is also currently available on our website for 2019-2020 fiscal year. We have achieved so much in this past year, and I encourage everyone to check out our annual report. It has a lot of key metrics and the key highlights from this past year and all of the great work we've been doing for our First Nations in Ontario. Also accomplished a website redesign this year. So we were able to fully redo the website, and it is currently live, launched in June of 2020. It has so much good information for our clients. We've also introduced a new blog feature. So this is going to be a place where our First Nations can come and access information straight from Ofntsc with helpful tips, resources, tools, ideas, and just new information. As soon as we get it, we share it with you. On our Technical Youth Career Outreach Project, we have focused on promoting careers in mining, trades, water and wastewater, housing, environment, and solid waste for First Nations youth. We also redid the TICOP website, which is www.firstnationcareers.com, which I encourage everyone to take a look at. We did a rebranding to make the TICOP look and feel more youthful because it is targeted to youth from grades 7 to 12. And we developed a 20-page career guide pictured there on the left side of the screen, which is available on our website, but we also have physical copies. If you would like any, just let us know and we can mail them to your community for distribution to your youth. Despite the challenge of being interrupted by COVID-19 pandemic, we were actually able to reach over 900 people at in-person events and 248,000 through digital advertising and engagement. Our social media this year has continued to grow. We are currently sitting at 1,181 for our Facebook audience, 647 followers on Twitter, 112 on Instagram, and 502 on LinkedIn. In our first year, we've gained over 500 followers. So that's great. We're able to attend some trade shows and events in the 2019-2020 fiscal year. There is a list there, and hopefully once we get, a solution to the pandemic, a vaccine, we will be back out there at trade shows as soon as it is safe. Our goals for this upcoming year remain the same. We are trying to just promote a free flow of information from the Ofntsc to our stakeholders, which are the First Nations communities and the people who are working in the communities in the technical services areas. We are also going to continue to be visible to the First Nations public network, provide objective, timely, and fact-based information, and maintain those strong relationships that we've built with our board management and staff over the past years. Us today, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I look forward to seeing you again at next year's Ofnit meeting. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Rupa Rakshit and I'm associated with Ofntsc for the past 4 years as the Community Energy Planner. I'm speaking to you from Ofntsc's Thunder Bay office, located on the traditional lands of the Fort William First Nation. I respectfully acknowledge the ancestral lands. My brief presentation is on energy planning for First Nation communities, which is to develop sustainable energy solutions to meet current energy usage and demands and planning for the future. The goal is to not only lower the cost of electricity, but to also establish clean and green options. There are an array of technologies and innovations to achieve these goals, with environmental, social, and economic benefits. Now let's start at the very beginning, the community energy planning concept. It is both a tool and a process that should be carried out by the community, with the community, and for the community. It identifies and evaluates the energy supply. Well, to get to some place, we need to know where we are at. So it's important to know how energy is supplied to the community. In most communities, electrical and heating and transportation services are provided by a combination of fuel sources. However, to improve our energy sources, alternatives can be identified and assessed. Energy demand is how energy is used in the community. In a typical community, most of the energy use occurs in buildings, infrastructures, and transportations for heating, ventilation, lighting, and to operate facilities, equipments, and machineries. Collectively, the energy supply and demand information makes the community energy profile. Each community has unique priorities and motivations. They can be energy security, environmental protection, advocacy, policies, and funding availability. They can be addressed using three key energy planning elements: efficiency, conservation, and renewable energy. In most cases, the first priority is to reduce or contain the cost of energy. Some good starting points are housing electrical retrofits or heating initiatives. Energy conservation is to make behavioral or lifestyle changes as a practice to use less energy. Turning off the light when you leave the room or unplugging appliances when not in use are some examples. The reason to conserve energy is to gain more control over the energy bills and reducing the demand on our natural resources for our children. Transitioning to renewable energy, where feasible, is another long-term measure to diversify energy sources. Since 2017, Ofntsc's Energy File offers core services in capacity building, technical advising on community energy plans, community energy audits, and reporting, and communications and outreach to raise awareness on the nexus thinking on integrated energy system, as they are interconnected with other community services such as housing, fuel, water and wastewater treatment services, information and communications technology, transportation, and so on. The digital technologies are increasingly driving these integrations. In partnership with IESO, Ofntsc is delivering technical and hands-on training to IESO's community energy champions through a foundational modular training since 2018. The training highlights fundamentals like a champion's role and responsibility, understanding the electricity bills and units, developing baselines and energy plans, conducting energy audits, making business cases for energy projects, managing energy projects, energy infrastructure, asset management, and integrating climate change impacts. On that note, I wrap up my presentation. I'm happy to connect with you for any further discussions in these areas. Thank you for listening and for the opportunity.
Hi, my name is Tricia Hamilton, and I'm a senior engineer at Ofntsc. Today, I'm providing a brief update of the engineering group activities. One of the most important projects that we're working on is providing funding assistance to First Nations. The Ministry of Infrastructure have announced their ICIP funding program, which stands for Investing in Canadian Infrastructure Program, which has had several phases that we have successfully applied for. The Rural Fund, which was for primarily roads project, we assisted with 7 applications for 7 First Nations worth approximately $18 million. And we're excited that 5 of those applications were successful. So right now we're working on coordinating these projects and getting them underway with the First Nations. And we are working on issuing funding support requests and discussions to ISC. The ICIP fund is for 93.33%. So we are working on submitting for the remaining cost share of 6.67 with ISC, which does provide excellent value for ISC. Another phase of that fund was the Green Fund, which was for drinking water and sewage projects. We assisted with 18 applications worth approximately $40 million, and we're happy to note that 14 of those have successfully advanced to the federal review stage and have been recommended for approval with the province. We are working on putting together supporting documents such as terms of references, MCAs, and PARs with the First Nations so that when we do receive formal funding confirmation, we'll be ready to get those projects going and underway to get some really important infrastructure projects going. The other branch of the ICIP was the Community, Culture and Recreation Fund. We assisted with 8 of those applications, and currently we're waiting to hear for more information. So with that funding assistance, we do continue to provide assistance to First Nations on submitting funding applications to ISC, primarily through MCAs and PARs. And we also continue to monitor for any other funding application programs which could be beneficial to the First Nations within Ontario. For example, if there would be a second phase of the Green Fund through the Ministry of Infrastructure. We've also heard the federal government announce a COVID resiliency fund, which is a reallocation of already approved infrastructure dollars into projects which could be completed by the end of next year as an infrastructure stimulus. So right now we're monitoring Grants Ontario daily to see if that is something that the province would be rolling out. If it is, we hope that that would be something they would roll out in the next few weeks or so. And then we would work with the First Nations to identify those projects and submit quality applications. Beyond that, we continue to provide technical advisory services. We are on 38 different engineering projects. Of those, 4 of them are roads projects, and 4 of them are other projects such as childcare, schools, and fire stations. The rest of them are water or sewage projects, of which 8 of them are studies, 11 of them are detailed designs, which are underway, and 3 of them are major construction projects, which are underway. 6 of them are upgrades, such as adding generators to existing water treatment plants. In 2019, Ofntsc issued a report summarizing the capital needs for drinking water and sewage within Ontario. This was based on interviews and discussions held with First Nations and tribal councils back in 2017 and 2018, where we asked the First Nations and their representatives to tell us what their capital needs were and what their projects were. From that, we summarized 781 separate water and 412 separate sewage projects, and we're able to provide a very high-level estimate of what the capital need for water and sewage was within Ontario. Our board has asked that this be a living document to continue to reflect the reality of what the needs are within Ontario. For example, some of these projects will have been completed since then, and some new projects may have been identified. As well as we know, project costs continue to increase. So a construction job in 2020 would be more expensive than a construction job in 2018 due to inflation and other perceived changes in the construction industry. So right now we're in the process of updating this report. We will be issuing emails to the tribal councils and UFNs and large First Nations. So we appreciate it if you'd be able to quickly review that and let us know if there's been any update on your capital project needs, if new projects have been identified, or if other projects have been resolved, so that we can make this a document that accurately reflects the reality of the needs within First Nations within Ontario. Thank you very much for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Hill, Fire Safety Coordinator / Infrastructure of the Ofntsc. In the Fire and Safety Program, we have the Director of Operations, Brian Stotts, and myself. I'm relatively new to the Fire and Safety Program as I joined in late August of this year. In the Fire and Safety Program, we assist our First Nations and Tribal Council clients with fire prevention issues, such as fire department equipment requirements and fire department job descriptions. We assist our clients with navigating the applicable building codes, such as Ontario Building Code 2012, National Building Code 2015, National Fire Code 2015, or any other applicable standards during new construction or renovation projects in the community. We provide emergency vehicle review and analysis service and coordinate bulk purchase of fire prevention equipment and fire prevention material on behalf of our clients when funding is available. Ofntsc will be submitting a funding request to Indigenous Services Canada for a bulk fire equipment purchase and purchase of fire prevention material. The request will be submitted to ISC in this current fiscal year, and we're hoping for a favorable response. We also gather, compile, and report fire loss statistics on behalf of all of our clients. When received, we report this information to ISC in the Ontario region. We request that all of our First Nation clients send their fire loss statistics to us for this calendar year. The submission of these reports assists us when approaching ISC for several items throughout the year, including funding requests for fire prevention equipment and material to provide to our First Nation clients as mentioned previously. Fire Prevention Week for this year was from October 4th to 10th, 2020. The theme this year was Serve Up Fire Safety in Your Kitchen. Please practice these fire safety habits in your own home all year round. Again, I am Nathan Hill, Fire Safety Coordinator / Infrastructure. My contact information is listed here. Thank you very much. Please stay safe, everyone.
Hello, my name is Dean Dubosky, and today I'll be talking about the Circuit Rider Training Program. I am Ofntsc's CRTP specialist. Ofntsc Circuit Rider Training Program focuses on administering certified education units and on-the-job training to First Nations water and wastewater system operators. The Circuit Rider Training Program is provisioned on the basis that it follows Ontario's regulations for becoming a certified operator. Operator training is an integral component to the health of communities, and therefore much of the curriculum is specific to First Nations water and wastewater infrastructure. So, what are some accomplishments of CRTP? Some notable things the CRTP program has done really shows how flexible the program can be. Operators of water and wastewater systems are attaining provincially accredited licensing. We have established partnerships with tribal councils that include KO, PWI, IFNA, and BMOSE. Extended funding agreement into 2020-21. We've had a significant increase in the number of CEU and OJT training hours facilitated by CRTP program, and continued services to the 134 First Nations in Ontario. So, one thing we've done is really adapted to the pandemic. So, many of the things we've done, one of them is utilizing the Zoom platform and adapting all our CRTP trainers, and we've continued provisioning training to communities by means of online CEUs, including online testing, as well as following community pandemic guidelines and safety procedures to provide OJTs in select communities. Some of our plans moving forward. One of the many goals of CRTP is to decrease the number of boil water advisories and long-term drinking water advisories in First Nation communities. So some of our goals to help us get there are increase the amount of operators in training, increase the number of overall operators participating in the circuit rider training program, develop a preventative maintenance plan, expand partnerships, and make CRTP one of Ofntsc's core services. This is very important. I would like to give a big thank you out to Indigenous Services Canada. They have been a long-time supporter of funding for the CRTP program. The point that CRTP is at is all thanks to Indigenous Services Canada. They contribute to the constant growth and goals of the Circuit Rider Training Program. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Hello everyone, my name is Raymond Coe and I'm one of the environmental scientists here at Ofntsc. So to give you a breakdown of the environmental unit, so we are managed under our Director of Operations, Brian Stats, and we consist of 3 environmental scientists. We have Deneen Brigham out in the Thunder Bay office, who services the Northern First Nation communities and tribal councils. And then we have Stephanie Allen servicing the Southern regions out in the Brantford office. And then there's me, Raymond Coe, and I work closely with Stephanie on a daily basis to carry out many of our solid waste management projects. So within our unit, we offer core services, including solid waste management. So this includes assessment of community landfills, waste audits, helping to evaluate available solid waste options, and how we could bring the best operation and management practices with the environment in mind. We also advise on various regulations and guidelines to ensure environmental compliance, aid in developing major and minor capital project applications, terms of references, and funding opportunities for communities. So as communities have development, repurposing some of their existing land uses, environmental site assessments, or site remediation cleanups may be required, especially for contaminated sites. Similarly, certain projects may be flagged to go through the federal environmental assessment process. So we work very closely with communities to ensure they meet these criteria. Lastly, water resources are an essential part of the environment. So we offer support relating to water quality and source water protection. We provided training in this area in the past, and we will continue to do so moving forward. So this year is surely different from the others, and as a result of this, a lot of our focus has been shifted towards solid waste management. So this includes assisting communities with landfill upgrades, evaluating on-reserve versus off-reserve waste management options, and cleanups, including household hazardous waste, and also scrap metal removal. So another big highlight for us is the integration of GIS into our unit, and this is something that we're looking forward to expand organization-wide in the future. Lastly, I want to touch on training that we provide. So earlier this season, we provided online training on how to handle and deal with refrigerant and their removal and recovery. Due to current circumstances, we weren't able to provide the hands-on component, but we plan to have this make up at a later date. We also have offered training to tribal council solid waste coordinators on groundwater monitoring. So this hands-on training was completed later last year, but this is an important training worth mentioning. So with hopes that conditions we're gathering to improve next year, we'll be offering environmental monitoring for surface water and also landfill gas. Some other upcoming and in-progress training we have include household hazardous waste segregation, landfill basics, how to set up and run transfer stations, and last we are developing various solid waste modules that will be available to communities who follow along to evaluate their own solid waste management options, calculate diversion rates, reporting, policy management, and much, much more. So we've got lots of training and material to offer in the upcoming months. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you.
Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation. Fuel Systems Management. Did you know that the Fuel Systems Management Program provides services to all Ontario First Nation communities and works with tribal councils when requested? Services includes fuel systems management training, fuel systems assessment, technical and advisory support. Fuel systems management training consists of fuel systems identification, visual inspection procedures, legislation, receiving petroleum products, dispensing petroleum products, maintenance, dipping procedures, grounding and bonding procedures, spill response. A short video of spill response training from one of our training sessions. Fuel systems assessment. On-site assessment of fuel systems, bulk farms, fuel stations, home heating. An assessment form indicating areas that require correction or repairs is provided. Technical and advisory support. Assistance with acquiring funding for new projects. Assistance with acquiring professional service providers, engineering firms, contractors, etc. Technical advice or research on any type of petroleum site. Services exceeding normal funding. These services are only provided when additional funding has been approved. Spill kits and spill response equipment, transportation of dangerous goods, TDG training, workplace hazardous material information system, WHMIS training, (2019-2020) highlights. Fuel systems management training was provided to 21 communities with 45 participants passing and obtaining their certificate. Transportation of dangerous goods was provided to 21 communities with 31 participants passing and obtaining their certificate. Workplace hazardous material information system training was provided to 21 communities with 37 participants passing and obtaining their certificate. WHMIS received funding to have the new fuel tanks and upgrades to the diesel generating station completed. Removal of old tanks from 2 sites was also part of the funding. WHMIS school fuel tank replacement and heating system repairs was approved March 2020. (2020) highlights. 2020, a year that most people will remember, an historical event that has affected every person of the world in some form or another. As we conquer COVID-19, lifestyle will return to a new norm. Ontario First Nations Technical Services will not be passive and will move forward. The Fuel Systems Management Program has developed online training utilizing the Zoom platform. There has been 2 training sessions with 17 participants receiving certificates to date. The 2 projects at WHMIS, diesel generating station tank replacement and the school heating system upgrades, are both in the construction stage. The contractor has been on site for a few months and has to follow the COVID-19 protocol that the Band Council has developed for visitors. If they do not follow the protocol, entry to the community will be denied. Is fuel systems management important? Of course it is. There are billions upon billions of liters of petroleum stored in Canada every day. 1 liter in the water system can travel for many kilometers, contaminating the water and the shorelines in its path. Be safe, be happy, be kind, be respectful, and we'll get through this pandemic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elmer Lichters. I'm the Senior O&M Advisor at Ofntsc. I'd like to welcome everyone and hope everyone is doing well in these very uncertain times. Thank you for joining me in a short presentation from the Operation and Maintenance Program, and I would like to highlight a couple of projects that's happening right now. One is the First Nations Infrastructure Resilient Toolkit. As you know, extreme weather conditions continues to disrupt and damage community infrastructure and places additional challenges in providing their essential services. To address some of these challenges, the toolkit helps to identify infrastructure vulnerabilities related to severe weather events, It helps to establish risk profiles for any type of community assets. It helps to provide recommendations regarding risk mitigations and adaptation, and helps by incorporating industry best practices such as ISO 55000 asset management standards. 2019-20 OFNTSC delivered 10 training workshops to First Nations and Tribal Council, which provided hands-on training on how to use the toolkit to assess the risk of current and future climate impacts on community infrastructure, and introduced asset management processes and the benefits of implementing asset management plans in First Nations. 2020-21 OFNTSC plans to deliver 4 additional training workshops. However, dates and locations will be determined once COVID-19 restrictions are eased and it allows for group gatherings. I'd like to talk a little bit about the National Asset Management Initiative. The AFN received funding from Indigenous Services Canada to produce asset management plans at 2 selected First Nations in each region across Canada. The objectives were to develop a fully costed asset management plan for federally funded assets using industry standards, identify capital investments such as replacements, upgrades, and repairs, to compare the results of the actual cost to the formula funding provided by ISK, and to identify new funding levels that support First Nations asset management plans for the future. OFNTSC participated in a national pilot project and developed 3 fully costed asset management plans for Curve Lake, Moose Cree, and Casabonic Lake First Nations. Their asset management plans produced actual O&M costs for all federally funded assets. Other deliverables include the development of a First Nations asset management policy and the asset management workbook to inventory assets, calculates the costs, and tools required to develop asset management plans. AFN's next steps is to provide a status update at the December 2020 AFN Special Chiefs Assembly, to refine and complete the analysis of the regional asset management pilots, continue with regional engagements on capacity development for First Nations asset management, seek funding to host a First Nations asset management forum, and create a committee to work with ISK on a First Nations asset management approach, and create a working committee to guide the implementation of the O&M policy reform. They also like to work with other government partners and organizations to advance First Nations capacity and asset management, and there's a short list of some that they're proposing to work with. I'd like to talk a little bit about what's happening in asset management in Ontario. OFNTSC has partnered with North Shore Tribal Council on a multi-year, multi-phase approach to asset management for all 7 of their First Nation communities. Phase 1, awareness and capacity building. Phase 2, development of an asset management plans. And Phase 3, implementation. The project will utilize tools created from OFNTSC's asset management pilot projects, such as the asset management policy, the Excel workbook, and various templates. This project was funded through Indigenous Services Canada Asset Management Program. Thank you for your attention. Please contact me if you require more information on current asset management initiatives. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Martin and I'm the Acting Program Coordinator here at Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation in Emergency Management Planning. The diagram you see before you is just a quick diagram of our overall training module that we utilize here at the OFNTSC for Emergency Management Planning. Emergency Management Planning has been in place at OFNTSC since 2009. The program provides training and assistance in emergency management planning, 72-hour preparedness, and master emergency response plans. The plans we collect help develop, update, and exercise, as well as we do reviews and make recommendations for improvement. Over the years from 2009 to present, we have been lucky enough to train 776 individuals in one or more phases at our regional training sessions, as well as an additional 203 individuals that have been part of one-to-one and community engagements. Those engagements include training, exercises, and community control group chief and council presentations. As well, we have worked with the First Nations in Ontario to bring the number of MRFs submitted to Indigenous Services Canada from 38 in 2009 to currently about 114. All those plans are in various stages of completion, from draft to current and updated. This fiscal year, the Ofntsc MP team has been able to add an additional team member, the Capacity Development Specialist. This specialist is currently working to set up a program that will enhance the ability of the MP team to bridge the gap between MRF and annex subplans by providing additional and more in-depth advisory services. The specialist is looking to bridge this gap through data collection and monitoring, information networking at conferences, symposiums, as well as participating in EMP working groups, and maintaining relationships with First Nation communities, their stakeholders, and government agencies. The specialist will also liaise with government ministries and relevant industries for guidelines, additional templates, and other tools that will help plan enhancement recommendations from Ofntsc and our team here. For this fiscal year, our regional training model is currently under development, which is going to allow us to deliver our training online in a web-based platform such as Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, or MS Teams. We're really pressing to have the online training available by mid-December or early January, and we're currently looking to tentatively book some First Nation community control groups who would like to take the training as a group. One-on-one and community training is always available here through the team, and we do the training by phone, by email, in community visit where applicable and we can get in, and Zoom meetings. This can be arranged by contacting any of the team members, and their contact information is coming up next. This is the team for Emergency Management Planning here at Ofntsc. As stated, I'm Kyle Martin. I'm the Acting Program Coordinator. Brandon Stotts is our Acting Field Officer, and Tracy Anderson is our Capacity Development Specialist. Any one of our team members, you can feel free to reach out and contact us, and we'll work together to get you the information that you are asking for and that you require for your Master Emergency Response Plans. Overall, we just, like I said, we're working on holding regional training sessions online now in the new COVID environment we're in. But also, if we can get out and help you in community over the phone or by email, any and all of us are always willing to do that and work with our trainers that we have come in to do the training with us. The training opportunities for this year that are currently available are Phase 1-2 HIRA. This training deals with Master Emergency Response Plans, preparedness, the framework of those plans, and hazard identification risk assessment exercises. We also offer Phase 3-4, which is updating and exercising your Master Emergency Response Plan, as well as pre-planning for operations, based live exercises, introduction to recovery, and evacuation and reception center overview. And once again, I'll state that in-community one-to-one training is always available by contacting any one of the team members that was listed in the presentation. And we can do this training on the phone, by email, Zoom, or in person when we can get out and come into your community. So that concludes the presentation for today for us. If you have any questions, Tracy, Brandon, and myself are available now. So thanks a lot for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you and helping you out when we can.
Hub Pilot Project. Hub Pilot Project funding was approved in May, and building the project structure and recruiting began in August. The Hub Pilot Project is designed to accommodate the needs of 22 First Nations who currently do not have the resources and the capacity for fulfilling the responsibility of hub services. There is a vast geographical distance between the communities that will be serviced by this hub project. These are the 22 First Nation communities that will be provided free hub services. This map of Ontario shows the geographical locations of these communities. The hub service will provide operational support and assistance to the First Nations operators to ensure that their community's water and wastewater systems are operated and maintained to meet the province of Ontario's drinking water regulations, and that the related infrastructure and equipment contained within the communities are periodically assessed to ensure that maintenance activities are scheduled and completed. The project team consists of 1 hub manager and 4 water and wastewater process technicians. It will expand as the workload increases by 2 more process technicians and 1 hub coordinator. The hub project team: hub manager, Clyde Smith; hub process technicians, Adam McHugh, Paul Otis, Shane Dale, and Stephen Caldwell. Future service contracts will be developed with industrial contractors to provide skilled trades assistance such as instrumentation, electrical, and mechanical for these communities in conjunction with the hub services. Year to date, we have engaged and provided an outline of our services to 16 of the 22 First Nation communities covered by this project. Year to date, we have provided operational service and process troubleshooting assistance to 4 of the 22 First Nations. The program currently tracks service history of each First Nation using a manual work order system, and as the workload increases, the need to move towards a computerized maintenance management system would be required. This slide shows the standard operating procedure for hub services and our manual work order and planning process. The continuing growth of this project objectives will be to contribute to a structured program that First Nation operators become confident in their capabilities and responsibilities, negate boil water advisories, establish a preventative maintenance program, meet the Ontario drinking water regulations, decrease the cost of maintaining and repairing First Nation water and wastewater infrastructures, and promote understanding and trust in their systems and improve the overall health of the First Nation communities. For further information on this project and services available, please contact Clyde Smith or Glenn Goodman. Thank you.
Good day, and welcome to the Infrastructure Specialist Program Update. The IS program was developed in 1999 to provide housing inspection services and technical advisory services to Ontario's unaffiliated First Nations. At that time, 4 staff were hired to serve the unaffiliated First Nations, 2 working from Thunder Bay and 2 working from the Toronto office. Program was also made to work as a bridge to all other OFNTSC program areas and to ensure good access for the unaffiliated First Nations. Indigenous Services Canada reporting that the IS staff focus on with the First Nations, one being the FNIP, the First Nations Infrastructure Investment Plan, annual update, ICMS, Integrated Capital Management System, Asset Condition Reporting System, or ACRES, and Major and Minor Capital Projects reporting. The main purpose of the First Nations Infrastructure Investment Plan for each community is for planning purposes within ISC programming to determine minor capital and core funding and proposal-based funding plans with each First Nation. September 30th each year is when the FNIPs are due. ICMS, or Integrated Capital Management System reporting support for First Nations by the IS program, one being the Community Infrastructure and Housing Annual Report, ACRES Projects Annual Reports. ICMS reporting is usually due October 15th every year. The Asset Condition Reporting System is a triennial ISC project for every First Nation with ISC operations and maintenance funded assets. The project is to determine asset recapitalization efforts and also determine maintenance needs requirements at the First Nations. Various unaffiliated First Nations acres are due for updating this fiscal year, but these have been postponed this year, to 2021 by ISC. All acres in any given year are due on October 15th of each year. Housing inspections, another program area. IS staff can inspect all new and existing residential construction for building code compliance, whether with the National Building Code or Ontario Building Code. That determination for compliance is made by the First Nation, and the First Nations are the authority having jurisdiction. CMHC inspection services. Staff can provide program inspection services for all unaffiliated First Nations, and the IS program also provides inspection services to various tribal councils where needed and where available. These services can include CMHC on reserve housing programs, including the Section 95 on reserve housing program, Residential Rehabilitation Assistance Program, or RAP, and physical condition reviews, PCRs. The Infrastructure Specialist Staff Group, Charles Patatagoose, working from Brantford, Chastity Cruz, Jackie Hall, Nathan Hill, all working from Brantford. Nathan is part-time IS and also part-time fire safety. Clarence Mikas works from Thunder Bay. Clayton Favat works from Thunder Bay. Infrastructure Specialist Expertise, Ontario Building Code Training and Certification, certification with Ontario Building Officials Association, Building Code Qualified, or Chief Building Code Official, National Building Code Training, National Fire Code, National Plumbing Code Training, HRAI, Training and Certification, Heating, Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Institute of Canada, including air handling system design and inspections, such as exhaust fans and HRVs. Other training, including wet training, wood energy technology transfer, which involves solid fuel-fired appliances, equipment installation, and inspections. NRCan, or Natural Resources Canada, training and certification involving residential energy conservation programs, such as R2000, EnerGuide for New Homes, and Energy Star. CMHC on reserve housing program, Section 95 RAP, HASI, which is Home Adaptions for Seniors initiatives, hydronic systems training, Canadian Hydronics Council home heating systems, college technical diploma, first aid training and certification, project management training. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. Please contact me here with any further questions or inquiries or requests for services for your First Nation.
Hi, I'd like to introduce you to the housing program at Ofntsc. The housing program falls under the Operations Director, Brian Stotts. My name is Janet Gallant, and I'm the Senior Housing Policy Lead. I've been working with Ofntsc since January 2020. I bring approximately 10 years experience working in First Nation communities within the Housing and Public Works departments. I'm a graduate of the Architectural Technology program at Fanshawe College. As part of the housing program at Ofntsc, some of the services that we would provide to our communities are housing policy review, assistance with developing your committee terms of reference, research and development, where we could find new and innovative products to assist you with your projects. We can assist with business plans and funding proposals as well. In regards to community engagement, we will review new government policies and provide you with briefing notes to summarize the changes and provide any potential impacts to your community. We will also provide any housing-related funding opportunities to your community and provide assistance completing the proposals if needed. And lastly, training. In the past, we have coordinated training for community members around HRV installation, building code training, and home maintenance. If there are any other housing-related training opportunities that the community takes interest in, we can definitely work with your community and others to bring that training to you. While it has been a challenging year to fully engage with community due to COVID-19, we still have accomplished some of our goals in providing services to the community. At the end of 2019, OFNTSC was awarded funding from CMHC to research and develop a skills-based training program that will assist the housing programs have greater success in their goals. We are working with Ryerson University to develop this model. In the next slide, I will provide more background on this opportunity for community engagement. Also in 2019, we were awarded the service contract from CMHC to provide inspection services to all the Indigenous communities in Ontario as it relates to the CMHC programs. These programs include the RAP, Section 95, Emergency Repair Program, and the Physical Condition Reports. The contract was extended to March 31st, 2021. To date, this year, we have received 182 technical services requests for a total of 343 houses that were inspected. Out of those 182 inspection requests, our inspectors, both within OFNTSC and the other tribal councils, we have completed 108 TSRs for a total of 242 inspections conducted in Ontario to date. This is quite an accomplishment considering the limitations that we have had this year. So I wanted to take this opportunity to engage with you as a stakeholder of our Solutions Lab. So what is it? So this is funding that was provided by CMHC that's going to provide OFNTSC the opportunity to address one of the findings within the National Housing Strategy. What we had identified in our proposal to CMHC was that the training models that have been used in the past from CMHC are not effective in improving the housing conditions within Ontario. Our Solutions Lab will design a skills-based training program with your input that will enhance your housing programs. This lab is designed to allow community to be a part of the solution. We plan to do this by engaging with stakeholders so we can understand the issues that each participating community is having within their housing program as it relates to training and capacity building. We will be conducting micro and macro labs to dive deeper into the issues and discuss potential training models with our stakeholders. Before COVID, we had planned to have face-to-face sessions where we could bring stakeholders from other areas within Ontario to discuss the needs. We are still looking for community input and would like to hear how you would prefer to be involved, whether it's via Zoom, face-to-face, or surveyed responses. It's not too late to get involved, so please reach out to me if you have any interest in assisting with designing this new model. If you have any questions about the services under the housing program or would like to participate in the Solutions Lab, please contact me. You can reach me by email or the cell phone would be best, or you can call the office. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.